So if you have a boat, John boat, V-hull boat, aluminum boat that has a front end that's very open, like ours, it has no platform, no type of surface to put a trolling motor, to put your sonars on, and you want to add one, then this is the video for you. So the first thing you're going to want to do, have a boat. Second thing you're going to want to do is get some cardboard and cut and place it up here. As you can see, we already have a piece cut out. We already did this step. So take your piece of cardboard, you put it on this area that you want to put your, or build a platform, and you're going to get a Sharpie. You're going to draw an outline of the outside of what size, shape you want your, piece of metal to be. For us, we wanted ours to come right here to cover this hole. That's going to give us enough room for our trolling motor, our accessories, anything we want to put up there. So, as you can see, already cut out, and it's cut just about how we want it to fit. You're going to want to cut this and your piece of metal a little bit big, because you can't add metal once you're done cutting. You're going to want to cut it big so that you can have a little bit of wiggle room in case it's not exactly how you want it, and you can cut down and trim it to your liking. So, we went ahead and did that. I'll go ahead, I'll put some clips in here of us actually doing those steps, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about how we're going to do this. We have a cardboard cutout, that's going to be our template, and we have aluminum. We're going to measure 14 times and cut once.
Yep. As you've seen, we didn't do in the other job,
previous videos.
Basically what we did is we cut out a piece of cardboard and basically put it up there, got the measurements how we wanted it, got everything we needed. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mark the line. We're going to mark the line.
Alright.
So basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut this template out with a knife, put it on the front of the boat, and make sure that this is exactly how we want it before we cut the steel, or before we cut the metal, the aluminum. Griff's sure hand is going to go ahead and cut that. While he's cutting that, I'm going to stand here and flip this Sharpie around.
Dude, actually?
So we're going to test fit this, and did we knock it out of the park first try? Oh shit. It's a little short on right here. And it bends in, but I can live with
I'd rather
that.
be a little short, I don't want the overhang.
Yeah.
Okay.
There. So right here what we are doing, we are tracing, well, Griff is tracing the template onto the aluminum.
I'm good with that.
Yep.
So once you have your piece cut, it's going to look something like this. Really rough, very generic. And you're going to have it just like this. And it's going to fit right on top of where you want it to go. And this is how it's going to look at this phase. So, the next step for us is to build some framing to hold this piece in place. So we're going to go do that, and then we'll come back and go through some of the next steps. Bingo. So, the idea here, strong side of the metal, it helps if you grab the right piece. So, but I am going to round this corner off. what I'm doing now, I'm trying to come in here and find this edge right here so I can cut my angle for my pieces. So I got it, my line's right there. And this is going to be so I know the length, so I know where this piece needs to be. It's where we want it. All right, cool. So I got these lines in here, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm doing with these. But essentially, we're to come in, all right, there's that, come in, you always gotta watch your tin snips. They'll sling metal everywhere, so pay attention. So I'm gonna come in, cut a small piece off, right there, and right there. Now, get this back where we want it. Close. So with this boat having an inward shape, it's hitting at the bottom here where it's curving in. So we're going to trim off a little more. Let's see how that does. Like a glove. So the next thing I want to do before I go any further with cutting more pieces, I want to make sure that where this meets in the very front, as you can see right now, it's all the way forward, pushing it all the way forward, and there's gaps. See the gaps? And it's hitting, if you can see, it's hitting right here. So the first thing I want to do is get that straight and clean, and then we'll make some more cuts. All right, so I got that grinded down. As you can see, almost flush. It's about as good as I'm gonna get it. I may come back. There's a little spot right there, it's a little high, but for the most part, that's good. So I got everything clamped down where I want it. So I have everything, you know, how I like it. And now if you look here, there's some juts right here. See how my finger, watch my finger right here. See it comes back out. And then as I go further, there's some pieces that come out further and cover my finger. So right here, I'm gonna have to come back and cut down some more so everything is clean. And it's a little bit worse on this side as far as being in, but I'm gonna come in and clean that up too. So that's the next step. I'm gonna come in and grind this edge down to get rid of the black line, and that's gonna make it, should be symmetrical. Gonna use the grinder here, and we'll see how this goes. As you saw, I was working with the grinder, sander, and the file. I was trying to get everything cut back to where I wanted it. Took the file, got all the rough edges off with the sander, and kind of got it all finished. So this is how it turned out. As you can see, it looks better. Still some rough spots, but we're gonna work this out. Let's go over here and try it out, see how it looks. May have to do a little more minor tweaks in a little while, but for now, we're gonna start putting our framing in to rest this on top of in the front, and we're gonna put in our frame right here and then do some cross pieces. So we're gonna get started on that, and we'll come back and discuss it some more. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get some of this stuff out of the way, and I got a couple of scrap pieces here from earlier cuts on the framing that I can attach my additional framing to. So essentially, I want it to be back to back. I'm gonna have this piece under the bow that's already existing, and then this piece under our new piece of aluminum we're adding. So it'll look something like this. For now, I gotta cut this real quick. Here and there. I don't like that at all, so I'm gonna try to break something here. Do this the best we can with what we have, so. That's that. My pliers, haven't seen them in a while. I'm only going to be able to get this. We're going to scrap that entire idea. When you're doing stuff you've never done before with a different boat each time, you have to try different things until you find what works, and that just wasn't going to work. So when you're testing these fixes that are going to allow you to do what you want to do with your build, it's really smart to use your extra scrap pieces of aluminum so you're not wasting a new piece, because they're not always going to work out. And you don't want to use a brand new piece that may not even work out. So always use scrap pieces when you can. I've got a scrap piece right here that actually is going to fit perfectly. I got it clamped down right here. I got a countersink already done. I'm going to come in. I'm going to clean this up. And all right, so that's there. Cool. Good. Now, I'm going to do a couple more drills. I was trying to avoid going in the side of the boat because I can't put the rivet gun on the outside to make it a flush finish on the outside. But luckily there's a lip on the outside of the boat, so I can come in as high as possible on the inside with a non-countersink, a regular rivet, and I can get it from the inside, and that should pull it and keep it hidden up in the bow. So let's try that real quick. Aha! And actually, upon further investigation, this lip has a gap that has an opening. So this rivet is actually going to be completely encased inside that lip. Couldn't have gone any better than that. I'll show you guys real quick so you can kind of get an update here. Alright, so what we're doing here, if I can get you off the stand. All right, so what we have, this was a problem. Because if you look right here, there's the lip of the handle. There's a lip right here, this handle, and that kind of ruins me putting a piece across right here. Didn't have any room. Now, as you can see, I got a piece right here that's going to have plenty of support and stability to our piece of metal there. We'll do some countersinks on top to attach the metal so it stays flush. But what I found out is, what I was saying about this hole, I was trying to avoid coming to the side of the boat. As you can see, you don't see any rivets. Now, this gap is wider here than it is down here. It's real thin right there, but it's really thick up in the front. So there's a gap, this little hole, there's a gap inside of this rib that my bit went perfectly in between. I riveted that piece down, and look, nothing on the outside of the boat. Gotta love it when a plan comes together. That's just beautiful. Now a countersink right here is not actually necessary, but for aesthetic purposes, it looks better when it's flush. Right here, actually, that's good. So, punch that in there. Bingo. All right, so something you'll notice right here real quick. I'm gonna get these as close as possible, but I'm gonna have to cut a piece of aluminum for like a filler, because there's a gap right here, about a 1/16, maybe a little more of a gap. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a filler to bring that level up to make it flush when I put on that sheet metal on top. So I gotta get some more rivets real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll attach the rest. And what we're doing right now is we're cutting a filler piece. 6.5 should do it. So now, get it about where you want it. And it's about from there to the corner, from there to the corner. All right, cool. All right. And all right, cool. So let's get that attached there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach it here mainly because when I come back with that sheet metal, on top, that will go all the way through and attach both pieces at one time. So we're to go ahead and attach it there and see how it looks. All right, so there you go. Nice, flush, level. We got to run a piece in the middle here so that our sheet is fully supported from front to back as well as side to side. So in order for that to happen, I have to have a piece attached here. We have to have a scrap piece attached here in order to rest my aluminum, for my aluminum to have somewhere to sit. So, something you'll notice here, this piece is a little bit lower than this piece. That is to make room for that 1/16 of a lip this extra piece is gonna add. So we got it drop down, we got it offset, just so we have room to do all this. And the reason we're putting so many rivets up here is because we're gonna have a trolling motor attached. There's gonna be a lot of weight and a lot of torque. So we wanna make sure that trolling motor doesn't go anywhere. It's happened to us before. Get in there. Sometimes I need a little bit of convincing. piece is attached, sturdy. Get our clamp off. Got this piece cut to the right length. We're gonna come in. We're gonna go and attach this right there. All right, so now we got that good and attached. I'm not gonna put any more rivets into it until we figure out where exactly it's gonna sit. I ended up hopping in the boat and just knocking out some of the framework and cutting and riveting, because it was just a lot of tedious work that I needed to focus on. So I went ahead and hopped in there, knocked out a lot of that. But let's go ahead and show you guys what I did. As you can see here, we had to cut in some support legs to tie it into the actual framing of the boat. That's going to help with the front and back, the up and down torque on this back end of the front area. So we got these on the bottom here with 3 rivets in each at the bottom. I went ahead and did those so I could get out of the boat and show you guys what exactly I did. We got a piece cut here for the middle support. Got 1 rivet in there just holding everything together so I don't have to have any clamps. And as you can see, pretty straight. Came out pretty good, but just kind of wanted to show you guys, this is actually looking pretty good. I'm gonna come back in here, rivet everything a couple more times just to get it all solidified. And then honestly, this should be enough to hold that sheet of aluminum and a trolling motor and all that torque. So that should really be, I mean, guys, because I'm gonna rivet my sheet right here, all the way down, and here, here, and here. So, I mean, honestly, you know, that shouldn't go anywhere, especially with these 2 feet, these 2 legs tying it in. So that's where we're at now. I attached it with a few rivets so you can see exactly how it's gonna look when it's done. But for visual purposes, I put a few in there so it would hold it down. We may have to pull it back up to run wiring for everything, so I went ahead and left a few. I went ahead and, you know, left it for the most part unattached. So let's go ahead and take a look. As you can see, turned out great. A little bit of a gap right there, but that's because there's no rivets. Just push it down, it'll stay flush. So, I mean, all in all, that's pretty sturdy, and that should hold a trolling motor. If you remember, we had all those spots up under there, other supports running across. But as you can see, I mean, right here, we have to do a little work, but it's pretty flush. It's pretty flush right here in the front. And I mean, along the other side, it just looks great. It looks really good. You know, you can attach your trolling motor, you know, on the front like that. Yeah, so that's done. And, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. We got a lot more coming on the bill. 4th of July is coming up. We got 3 days of non-stop work. Hopefully get the pour foam done and get the framing up for the front casting deck and the back area, you know, respectively. Hopefully that will be done by the next weekend. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Keep up with the build. We should be really, you know, rolling here soon. So, you know, stay tuned.